And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Pascack Clutch Podcast, our second live episode. A happy New Year to you as well, a happy 2024. What a way to start the new year with the college football playoff semifinals at the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl. We'll get into that in just a moment, but first, our Pascack Hills sports. Before that, let me introduce the normal group of five. We've had a few that missed it, specifically Mr. Alex McKay over here. He's joined, along with me, by Michael McKay, Sam Koppelman, and Sean Barry. I'm Matthew Merlino. Thanks for joining us here on the Pascack Clutch Podcast. Boys basketball got their second win yesterday on the season with a 57-37 win against divisional opponents Indian Hills. They are coming off a bit of a skid, starting the year with three straight losses. They had a 51-40 win against Cresskill in the first round of the All Groups tournament. That's their holiday tournament, but they did lose in the final to Northern Highlands 57-43. Boys basketball right now 2-4. They will play against Ramsey at home this Thursday, so tomorrow, January 4th at 7 o'clock p.m. Girls basketball had their one and only win on the 21st of December against White Morrow, 51-19. They're coming off a 42-34 loss to Indian Hills. Close game, pretty good one. You can check that out on our new home on Huddle TV if you would like. They play at Ramsey and then in a benefit tournament against Lakeland to end the week. Wrestling has won 3 straight matches. They started off with a dual loss to Emerson Borough at Emerson Borough 47-22, but they defeated Mawa 65-12, and in a tri-match they defeated both St. Mary's from Rutherford and Glenrock 60-13 and 57-23 respectively. They do play Riverdale tonight in Riverdale. That is set to begin at 7 o'clock p.m. They will also play Friday night at 7 at Demarest, and then back home on the 10th for their first home dual match against Ramsey. That'll be at 7 o'clock on January the 10th. And for the Pascack hockey team, they went on a little bit of a skid after winning their first 2 games against Fairlawn and Paramus Catholic, but they lost to Clifton, Randolph, and Ridgewood, although they did come back to defeat Clifton again 10-2. And a shout out to Justin Yu of Pascack Hills for getting his first goal of his career. Now, gentlemen, the college football playoff, our center stage, of course, of our last episode with Mr. Skirbo previewing that, the semifinals. I don't think they disappointed. The Rose Bowl was a little bit off, but the Sugar Bowl, as we predicted, was a pretty big shootout there. We'll start with the Rose Bowl. Number 4, Alabama against number 1, Michigan. 27-20 in overtime, the final score in that one. Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines finally will get a shot at the national championship.
Michigan got lucky. Because Alabama, that wasn't an actual Alabama team. Right there. If that was
they played like they did against Texas.
Yeah.
If Bama played actually like an Alabama team, they would have easily won against Michigan. That was nowhere close to an actual Alabama
the Michigan
team.
Defense stifled Bama in that game.
Yeah.
But McCarthy wasn't able to take advantage. The quarterback play was pretty bad, and overall the offenses were pretty bad in that game.
His stats were not like they normally are. I mean, he had not nearly enough passing yards as he usually does.
McCarthy had 221 yards, but Milrow only had 116. That's such a low number.
How much did McCarthy throw for?
221.
McCarthy, 221 yards.
How much did Blake Corum have?
Rushing yards?
Corum had only 83 yards.
Wow, I really thought he'd be over 100.
Again, it was a very defensive game in the Rose Bowl this year.
Very.
But I thought one of the interesting plays that I saw live was the Michigan botched punt return. That was fun to watch because that was Bama's first points on the board.
Yeah.
But that was basically like throwing a Hail Mary, getting a DPI.
I was going to ask if there's any defensive touchdowns.
I don't think
so. No, there weren't.
There weren't even any turnovers until late in the fourth quarter where Michigan got their, I think their only turnover was one interception.
Yeah.
So Michigan goes on to the College Football Playoff National Championship game where they will play Washington, and we will get into the Sugar Bowl right now because that, as we expected, would be a shootout between Michael Penix Jr., who will be drafted, the Heisman Trophy runner-up, and the sophomore Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers. Unfortunately, the Longhorns weren't able to convert that final Hail Mary attempt. 37-31 the final score, and it will be number 1 versus number 2 in the national championship, Michigan and Washington. And a shout out to Mr. Skirbo, our guest last week, as he got both of the picks right. The only one out of us 4 who were there to get all the picks right. And the only one out of us 4 to get any of the picks right. We all thought Bama, Texas was going to be the national championship, and that didn't happen now, did it?
No, it was terrible.
Not very good. Sean, your thoughts on the Sugar Bowl?
It was a good game to watch. I feel like Texas, even Texas head coach, they admit because Texas defense, they played bad that game.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Even like he said, he did admit like they were off schedule and off game plan. They were trying to get back in the game very quickly on one play, and it didn't work. And as you saw on the last drive of the game, Washington, the ball down 4th down, I thought game's over. But then the problem is Texas was able to do that last round drive because Washington's player got hurt. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, the clock's going to stop now. Yeah. And then, so Texas all the way back in their own, 20 or something. Quinn throws a bomb all the way downfield at the 20-yard line. And when they made a catch, I thought Texas was going to score on this drive. And then the only other play they did after that was they threw some short, long pass to the running back at their own 15, and then trying to find the wide receiver in zone, couldn't get it in. 5 seconds left on the clock, game over. But I feel like in that game, I feel like they didn't really let Quinn Ewers throw the ball downfield.
No. Well, they didn't use Quinn Ewers the right way.
No,
I agree. No. But if you look at the stats, they had the same amount of pass attempts as Alabama game that they won. The problem was most of those pass attempts were just short screen passes that barely got past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it was just all checkdowns.
And their star receiver Xavier Worthy, he did declare yesterday. He did declare that he is going to the NFL draft, so he won't be at Texas next season. But he already declared, bro. Yeah. But only him. He only had 2 catches that whole entire game.
Yes, and he wasn't even the receiving guards.
It was the running backs that were doing it.
Yes,
for
it was
Texas.
C.J. Baxter who did get 64 yards.
And then their other running back, number 23. I don't know his first name, but his last name is Blue.
Yeah. So Texas out of it. The SEC and what will be the SEC next year with Alabama and Texas 0 for 2 in the playoff, and so it will be an all Big Ten as of next year national championship game between Texas and Washington. That's this Monday, January the 8th, 7:30 p.m. It'll probably start 7:45. It'll be on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, I guess you could call it. Number 2 versus number 1, both undefeated, both 14-0, both conference champions. Can't say the same about Florida State now.
Nope.
Michigan is favored by 5. They have, according to ESPN, a 75% chance to win. Gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's time for the picks. And we will start, as always, with Sam.
Give me the underdog of Washington.
It pains me to say this, but I have to go Michigan. They've just been the better team this season.
Sean?
All right, I won't watch it, but I feel like, as Michael says, it pains me, I'll say this too, I think Michigan will win. What they've been through this season, I feel like right now, with the script, it's going to be Michigan winning the championship.
We got to look logically into this game. Washington may be the better team, but Michigan has momentum on their side. They have that little chip on their shoulder for getting Harbaugh suspended for the beginning of the season, I believe, the end of the season, and now you go on to the national championship with this team. It's just a story to go on to the future.
Alexander?
Michigan. Yeah.
I think my reasoning for going Washington is you have the Heisman runner-up in Penix, and then you have like a solid defense who you would have never thought at the beginning of the year would be in the national championship. So I think they're just gonna chug through.
Well, also I picked Michigan because when Penix played against Texas, he just cooked their entire defense and threw the ball downfield. I would say Michigan definitely has a better defense than Texas.
Yeah.
I think it will.
Change.
I think it will be a close game, but I feel like Michigan will give Penix Jr. a tough time. eventually, and yeah.
I agree with these three gentlemen who all picked Michigan. While I do want Washington to win this one,
Same.
I think that Michigan defense is going to be too much for Penix to handle.
And Michigan, they're gonna. I
will say, I said that Penix couldn't read a defense, and he did pretty well against Texas. This Michigan defense is a different beast, though, and we saw that against Alabama, who defeated Georgia in the SEC championship game. Michigan stifled, as I said.
And with their offense, they're going to continue running the ball with Blake Corum, Dom Edwards, and then they're just going to keep doing that passing game plan with against Bam with JJ McCarthy.
Yes.
And I would say he did do good in that game.
Honestly, in my opinion, had it not been for that last play in overtime in the Alabama-Michigan game, I think it would have been a whole different story.
Yeah, because if that snap doesn't go so far down, Jalen Milroe actually has a chance at it.
Yes.
And he had someone, I believe.
Exactly.
It was too low a snap, and he just panicked.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that ended it.
And that's going to be something to keep in mind. He panicked.
But here's the thing, though. Michigan was down before tying this game, and multiple times when they did have their chance, they couldn't. And then finally, the defense stepped up, and they were giving the offense chances. But the offense wasn't responding, and finally the offense responded with that tying drive to go to overtime.
They were down by a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they tied it up.
Well, first they were up 13-7, then it was 13-10 Michigan, then 17-13 Bama. Wait, no. Am I?
It was.
Wait,
You got it,
right?
Sean. You got it.
Wait, yeah, 7-13 Bama. Bama kicked the field goal, and then yeah.
The game tying drive.
Yes.
Game 2020,
Then
and then
overtime.
Michigan won 27-20.
Overtime, and Michigan won 27-20.
Yeah.
So that's it for college football this Monday.
Brock Bowers.
He is going to the draft, and we'll talk about that in April, as we said. The National Football League started off this past week with the Jets losing to the Browns, but who cares about the Jets?
Yep.
So Saturday, instead of Monday Night Football, because those playoff games were on the Monday, we had Lions-Cowboys, and what a controversial ending in that one.
Yeah.
The Lions went for two. They got a touchdown. They went for two. Had it, but it was an ineligible receiver, the referees said. Although... while I'm not a referee, there seemed to me to be clear footage of the receiver who caught it, who was a lineman, by the way. He ran up to the referee. I believe he reported as eligible. The problem, some people have pointed out, and I don't know if this is correct or not, they did say it was an illegal formation as well. But if they reported that receiver, I guess, or that lineman as an eligible receiver, then the formation may not have been illegal, as the Cowboys would have shifted to cover him.
Yeah.
All in all, a very crazy ending to that one, and the final score 20-19, which, along with a upset that we'll get into, now gives the Cowboys the NFC East lead with 1 week to go.
Yeah, there was a video of him yelling at the ref, and him on the sideline, the second video, and he was pretty much cursing at the ref, saying how he was the worst ref ever.
No.
How he should have been.
Well, the refs, they got rid of that ref crew too?
No, that ref crew is going to do the one of the Saturday games this week.
Oh, really?
I believe it's going to be the Steelers.
He's not doing the postseason.
He is not doing the playoffs, but he is doing a playoff impactful game on Saturday. And
I have a feeling. I have a feeling the only reason why they did. I mean, maybe there could have been a penalty, but I felt like they just said because it was a Dallas home game. And
yes.
Yeah.
And that referee has been in. That crew has been in controversial decisions before this season. I think they were in that crew that missed the pass interference at the end of the Jets-Chiefs game, or another one of the Chiefs games. Yep. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And now that actually leads the Cowboys to, I believe, their 16th straight home win. Their last
they're undefeated at home.
Yes.
Their last home loss was back in 2021 when the Raiders beat them on Thanksgiving.
Yes, it's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
And speaking of that upset that we mentioned, the Eagles, which came into this week as number 1 in the NFC East. Go ahead.
Eagles. What happened? How do you lose to Arizona Cardinals?
Thank you, James Conner.
The Cardinals at home.
You realize that
the
James
play
Conner
calling
owns
has
you.
been terrible all season.
James
But
Conner.
it's
You
the
have a
Cardinals.
but you have a
Alright,
defense.
alright.
Why not use it?
boy.
Our defense unfortunately has not shown up since Chiefs versus Eagles, and possibly even some could argue versus the Bills.
And the Jets.
Well, that was beforehand. That'll
be the one thing I take away from this.
That was
season. You
that was
guys.
beforehand,
Mhm.
but they haven't shown up since then. It's been and the play calling has gotten significantly worse as the season has progressed.
Yes. So the final score, 35-31. The Eagles lose at home. They're now 6-2 at home.
Can't even blame
And
the offense.
while they are tied with the Cowboys have the tiebreaker on head-to-head.
Yeah.
So the Cowboys now lead the NFC East. Again, we'll get into most, if not all, of the playoff scenarios coming up for Week 18.
Dallas is playing Washington
and
this
the
week.
Eagles are playing the Giants.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that and what that means for the NFC East. Both teams, of course, have locked up a playoff spot right now, so there's no need to worry about not making it. What there is a need to worry about is who gets that home playoff game. Because the division winner does get the home playoff game.
For sure.
Again, the final score, the Cardinals with their 4th win on the year, 35-31 over the Eagles. Game of the week, if we had a podcast, the game of the week last week, I'm sure would have been the Ravens against the Dolphins in a battle for the AFC's #1 seed and their lone playoff bye. And a crushing defeat for the Miami Dolphins, now 11-5. The Ravens move up to 13-3, 56-19. It was in Baltimore, so that may have skewed it, but still,
that
the
sealed
Dolphins.
the AFC for the Ravens, right?
And that is the AFC #1 seed for the Ravens.
I saw this on Instagram. The two games the Ravens put up the most points in franchise records were against the Dolphins, 56 and 59 points.
Well, there you are. And they are coming off a win against San Francisco, so that may have given them some momentum. But I still think the Dolphins are pretty fraudulent. How many wins do they have against
12.
over 500 teams?
Oh, I don't know.
Exactly.
One.
And who is that?
Dallas.
500 or over? All right, they beat Dallas, so I'll give them
They're
that.
12-5 right now.
They're
And I
11-5.
saw
so close
this
game.
one thing that. So the Ravens have 3 losses, right?
Yep.
Their first 2 losses, the Browns and the Bengals. No, not the Bengals.
I can check.
Browns
I think
and
that's right.
there's a second.
Bills, maybe?
No,
We'll start with the B?
I'm sorry.
No,
They-
Colts
the
and Steelers.
49ers. The 49ers. They've lost for the first 3 losses. They lost to the Browns and then
The Bengals, yeah.
The Bengals, yeah. Both those QBs after the season, and both those games they lost by 17 points. The Ravens, people were saying that the ref tripped Lamar in the end zone on purpose to get that safety, to get the.
They still won though, so it
You
doesn't
know
matter.
they still won, but the joke was that it was they didn't have 17 points, they had 19 points, and that apparently people are saying that's why Lamar's still good, not out for the season. Because I mean, 2 of the 3 people, 2 of the 3 teams are out for the season.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe I agree.
I don't know.
Kenny Pickett got benched.
It was very controversial.
Yeah.
So there is that.
That was the Christmas game with the Ravens and the Niners, but the Ravens ended up winning that pretty soundly, 33-19. The final, of course, should have been 33-17.
Brock Purdy.
But we'll take what we can get.
I just want to say, I wasn't sure if I was watching the Niners or the Jets with Sam Darnold because it looked like Brock Purdy was throwing to ghosts out there.
Wait,
Ghosts
I
or
understand
Ravens
that
defenders.
reference.
Oh,
I
yeah,
understand that reference.
Brock didn't he throw 4 in the first half? Or
Yes,
3 in the first.
it was very bad, and they benched him for Darnold.
Yeah, I knew he threw 4.
Former Jets quarterback.
Do you
And he
miss
still threw a pick.
Do you miss into your Jets days with Sam Darnold?
Yep, I do, honestly.
How long
'Cause
was that, like,
he's
2 years?
leagues better than Zach Wilson.
2 years?
2019, I think.
If the Jets saw Sam Darnold, Garrett Wilson, they would actually
yes.
be good.
Well, the,
Yeah.
the problem was their coach was very bad back then.
Yeah.
Adam Gase rings a few bells in the minds of the PTSD-filled Jets
Wow,
fans. I have no
hire
clue.
him.
Woody Johnson is very bad, but at least Joe Douglas is an all-right general manager. We do need to fire Saleh. We'll talk about that
Would
later.
you rather Saleh or Adam Gase?
I would rather Saleh, but he's still pretty bad.
How about
Let's get
no
Bill
one?
Belichick. Yeah, how about me? I want to be the Jets coach. I know nothing about coaching.
All we need-
Well, let me be the Jets coach.
All we
we
need is
forgot
that
it?
Madden playbook.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick before he went to the Patriots.
Yes, I know this story.
Yeah.
He went.
You really think he would go to the Jets?
Why not? He's a backstabbing buddy anyways, so he might as well.
Tom Brady backstabbed the Patriots, so there is that.
Let's look at the playoff picture before we get into this final regular season week. In the AFC, the Ravens, Dolphins, and Chiefs, along with the Browns, have clinched. The Jaguars are the AFC South leader, but they can lose that this week if they lose their game against Tennessee. The Bills and Colts currently sit at 6 and 7. They do have a possibility to miss the playoffs, especially the Colts, if they lose, and we'll talk about that later. In the NFC, it's the Niners, Cowboys, Lions, Eagles, and Rams all clinched. The Bucks are the 4 seed leading the NFC South, but they can lose it to the Saints.
Yeah.
And I believe the Falcons possibly, but the Saints, the Falcons
Falcons
are still
need-
mathematically alive. It's very
The Falcons
The
win
Falcons
against
need both the Buccaneers and Saints to lose, and
Yes.
then they need like
Well,
a
if
bunch of other things to
if
work.
Buccaneers beat the Panthers, they're in.
yes, and
Yeah.
we'll rehash that when we get to it. I have a whole thing lined up with all the possible playoff scenarios, and the
Yeah.
Packers currently sit at the 7 seed with a pretty much win-in-your-in game against Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
We will start on Saturday this Saturday at 4:30 p.m. on ABC. Doubleheader on Saturday. It is the Steelers at the Ravens. I believe the Ravens will be sitting their starters because they have locked up pretty much everything they can get. That's why the Steelers are favored by 3.5.
They don't want to do the Jalen.
I do want to also.
Is it Bradley Chubb or Jalen Phillips incident?
I forget, but there have been many examples
But
of that
also,
happening, of them playing and then getting hurt.
talk about the Steelers. The Steelers are still playoff eligible.
Yes.
If they win this week, and
If
a
they
bunch of
win,
other stuff happens.
If they win and have a Buffalo loss or a Jacksonville loss, then they're in the playoffs. So they need, first of all, they need to win, and then they need to root for Miami or root for, I believe, Indianapolis, who's
Which
playing
Jacksonville
Jacksonville.
is-
No, it's
No, tight end
Tennessee.
too.
Tennessee, yeah.
Which the Jaguars probably gonna lose that one too because they have not been doing good.
I don't know. We'll see.
They have
Because
better chances of the Jaguars losing.
I agree. Tennessee is.
They're not horrible.
Tennessee's mid, bro.
Yes, Tennessee
Will
is
Levis
the
definitely-
They've
mid.
fallen off.
Mhm.
Like Ryan Tannehill.
No,
Yeah.
but
Ryan Tannehill's
Well,
gone.
you haven't heard anything about them all season.
I know.
You won't be hearing about them. for a
All
while.
you hear is Derrick Henry whenever he stiff arms somebody, and that's about it.
him and
Derrick
Will.
Henry-
Or just like some
Yeah.
crazy athletic.
Yes.
kid. Or
Besides Derrick
Okay.
Henry, the Titans have no one.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Exactly.
who did they have
And
on
he's going to
defense?
leave after this year because
I know.
he's
DeAndre.
I do want to
Hopkins.
add one thing though about the Ravens game really quickly, is that even the I know just all league, Lamar Jackson is number 4 of QBR, 65.3.
But will he play? That's the
Probably
big question,
not.
and I don't. The Ravens will just play their entire backups. It'll be a preseason game for them, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because why
doesn't
risk
matter.
the injury?
And then
Why
Brock
risk the
Purdy,
injury?
Mr. Irrelevant,
Yes.
72.7, number 1 QBR.
Wow. Average.
Yep.
All right,
Oh,
question.
yeah.
What's the MVP race looking like? Is it Lamar,
It's-
Brock?
That's a good question. I
It's
would
Brock.
presume
Tyreek
Lamar's
Hill.
number 1.
You know-
Receiver can't.
No,
be MVP.
Christian
Lamar,
McCaffrey's
bro.
still up there apparently.
Lamar, Brock.
Apparently he's still up there.
And
You
also-
got to
and the
discount
ref
all
It's
the
going to be
The ref
Lamar
love- the
Jackson.
ref
let's
lover,
be honest.
Patrick Mahomes, 62.5.
Wow. Is that number 2?
That's number 8.
Wow.
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 Jalen Hurts is below him with 61.6.
Who's number 2?
Who's number 2? Dak Prescott,
Wow.
Good for Dak.
70.5.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Jordan
We're
Love
gonna
is
lose
number-
in the divisional.
Jordan
Yeah.
Love.
Why is he always
Number
that?
10.
He's always like, here we go.
That's just
every,
what he says.
every
Jordan Love
time,
is-
bro.
Jordan Love is number 10.
Wow.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Good for
61.5.
Jordan
Oh,
Love.
right.
I hope the Packers make the
Oh,
playoffs,
wait,
'cause
Jordan Love put up
Jordan
the same
Love
amount.
has been balling out this
Yeah, he's
year.
looking so good.
Whoa! Let's talk about
What
this.
was that?
Dak Prescott. The reason why is because he's only thrown 8 interceptions.
Yep.
Good for Dak.
This would be his
Good
first
for
season
Dak.
with
And he's gonna
10.
throw 5 in the divisional round against
No,
San
watch
Francisco.
him throw two tomorrow night.
Yeah,
Yep.
guess what?
Sunday
He said he
night.
wasn't
And
going
the
to get
lose, and
10.
the lose.
Even though the Giants got absolutely crushed by Dallas 2 times, one of those picks was against the Giants defense.
Yeah. Go Giants.
We hate Dallas.
Three
We
against
hate
Dallas.
Dallas. We hate Dallas.
We'll get
Wait,
into that when they lose in the
Tua
playoffs.
is 58.8.
Is that
And they
three?
lost to the Dolphins
For-
too.
13.
Yeah.
How?
Tua's
He had
13.
1,000 yards in the first 2 weeks. How is that possible?
Remember, Dallas lost to
Because he.
Dolphins.
Yep.
He was leading by like
The
400 at one
top
point, but
dogs.
he hasn't done.
Yeah.
He's
Week
quick.
1 and 2.
Let,
Like,
let's get back on track here with our final 10 minutes going
Yep.
back to our Week 18 preview. Saturday night, 8:15 on ABC. The nightcap, Texans-Colts. It's a win and you're in situation for the playoffs. And if the Jags lose, the winner of that gets the division and a home playoff
Who's
game.
home?
Indianapolis is home, but Houston is favored by 1 on the road without C.J.
I
Stroud.
think I think Colts are going to win that game.
I believe the Colts will win because Gardner Minshew will
Yep.
roll out.
yeah.
Gardner Minshew.
And the Texans will go to a very hyped team to being out of the playoffs just because C.J. Stroud got injured. By who? By the New York Jets and Quinnen Williams. You're welcome, everybody. In Houston, Jets, Jets. Yeah, that's it. Speaking of the Jags, they play 1 o'clock on CBS. I don't think we'll get that here in North Jersey because the Jets are on Fox, so we should get, maybe we'll get that one. I'll have to get back to you.
Yeah.
But that's 1 o'clock on CBS. You'll probably be able to catch it on Red Zone if anywhere. Jags at Titans. Jags are favored by 5. They'll play Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and Calvin Ridley along with all of the other starters because they still have a chance to win the division and they still have a chance to miss the playoffs if they lose.
Yep.
And the Raiders.
And the Raiders. Who cares about the Raiders?
Yeah.
We already won our
Oh,
Super Bowl.
Raiders.
We already won our Super Bowl against the Chiefs,
Yeah.
and Jack Jones should have had.
Oh,
should
by the
never
way,
been called offsides.
I saw this the other day.
Oh.
Christian McCaffrey's out.
For
Yeah.
this week?
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah,
This
he's
year.
out. He's out.
Is he out for the year?
I don't know.
No, he's not out for the year.
The Niners will rest all their starters because they lost
Sam
that
Darnold
game.
starting. Let's go.
Yeah, go
He's
Sam.
dealing with a mid-calf strain and won't play Sunday. You know.
Then from the AFC South to the NFC South, another game 1 o'clock on CBS. Falcons at Saints. The Saints are favored by 3 at home. The scenario in that one is the winner will get the AFC South if Tampa Bay loses. I believe
You mean
the
NFC
Saints.
South?
What?
NFC South?
I did say NFC
So you
South.
said
You
AFC
said
South.
AFC
Did
South.
I? Oops. Whatever.
Well,
You know what I mean.
whatever.
NFC South. Falcons Saints. Winner gets the South if the Bucks lose. But I believe the Saints can still get in if something else happens.
They'll
They're
get in.
big-
They'll get in if Bucks lose to Panthers.
Yeah, because they'll win the division.
Yeah.
Derek Carr
And
time.
I think if the Packers lose, the Saints will get in as well. Because
Maybe.
Who are they playing? Minnesota? Or are
no,
they
they
played
played
Minnesota
Minnesota last
already.
week. I think they're playing the Bears.
If the Saints get in,
Bears.
I'm gonna clown you for just having a mid-ass organization.
Hmm.
Because you can't do anything
No.
with that.
Why? Why?
made the
Because the
playoffs
Saints
twice.
are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
As
What if-
Sean said earlier this year.
The
What
Saints are going to the Super Bowl.
Derek Carr has been mid this year.
Yes.
You know. It's
Yeah.
all,
But you still have a chance to make the playoffs. When has he done that with the Raiders?
Kamara's
2016?
just-
I don't know.
No, he's
2016, 2021.
All right.
First round exit.
No,
Yep.
Kamara's just
Because
been
of
doing crazy.
one
Because
pick
the
in the end
Raiders.
zone and one broken
No,
ankle.
because it's the
LSU.
Raiders. Stop being wrong, Michael.
Yeah, but
It's
also-
because it's the Raiders.
He
Ooh,
broke his ankle in
whoa.
2016, or he would have won
What?
MVP.
That's a skill issue.
Kamara's questionable.
Skill issue.
His
Skill
ankle.
issue.
Oh, that's big.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
Kamara's ankle. He's questionable.
He hasn't
That's
played
huge.
that
Bro,
much
he's
this
all-
year.
No,
He has
yeah,
to-
but the games he has played, he's been crazy.
Yeah, he's been really good.
He's still a bit of
They're gonna give it to Rashad Shaheed and Taysom Hill and all those guys.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sunday, 1 o'clock on Fox. It'll be the Bucks at the Panthers. Of course, if the Bucks win, they're in. If they lose, they may get in. They may be out. I'm not sure about it. They are favored by 5.5 on the road. The Panthers, worst team in the NFL. They have the number 1 pick if they didn't trade it away for Bryce Young last year. And David Tepper probably going to have to sell the team. He also got fined $300,000 for throwing a drink on a fan in the Jacksonville game last week.
The best throw the Panthers have made all season.
Yeah, Carolina.
Let's be honest.
Damn.
That drink throw was the best throw the Panthers have made all season.
I agree.
I feel
because,
bad for
I mean,
Bryce Young, bro. Because like
he's-
even
he's
during
too
the
small.
interviews, like he said he's
But
trying
guess,
his best.
but guess what?
and all.
He had one of the best high school teams in the country.
Oh.
He had one of the best college teams in the country. Then you go to the worst NFL team in the country, and it's not so
And
easy.
you're gonna
Wow.
and you're gonna stink.
Exactly.
And you have
You
no
can't
one
just
with you.
give the ball down to someone to the number 1 receiver in the.
No, but what I'm saying
Football
like
isn't a 1 minute game. You need
Yeah.
you need
you need
Yeah.
linemen especially.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People said that about the Texans.
You need
how
at least
Stroud
10
was gonna be a
good
bust,
players
but
out of
then,
your 40,
Mhm.
53.
But then look at that. Stroud
That's
had,
also
they had what's his phrase from Michigan get drafted, and then
would Panthers would be better right now if they drafted C.J. Stroud instead or not?
Yes.
No, because the organization is still bad enough where
Don't have defense.
it's just
Don't have a defense.
Honestly,
don't have an offense.
Don't have an O-line.
If CJ Stroud had gone to Carolina
and Bryce Young
instead-
gone to Houston, it would be
Totally
just
different.
flipped.
yeah,
Stroud would be bad and Young would be good.
Yep.
I know, but I feel like I'd rather have Stroud though. Like,
Yeah, I
feel like
would,
Stroud's
out of
the
both of them,
better
I'd
player.
rather have Stroud.
no,
but,
don't get me wrong. Bryce Young's a great
He's
player.
winning
but, like,
offensive rookie of the year.
I feel like I'd rather have Stroud.
It's not going to be Stroud because
Definitely not
he's
gonna
been
be Stroud.
Who would
hurt.
it be?
I don't know. We'll talk.
Like,
about
I'm
that
not
later.
basing off first NFL seasons, but like even in college, when they were
You'd
in
still
college,
rather have
I still
Stroud,
rather have
yes.
Stroud.
Oh, I don't know if anyone saw this, but CeeDee Lamb broke the single season receiving record for
Okay, good
Cowboys.
for him.
Nobody cares about Dallas.
In the
I'm
late
just saying it's great
in the
'cause
late
it's great.
window
Screw
at
Dallas.
4:25
Honestly.
on CBS, we'll have Bears at Packers.
Jaguars.
The Packers are favored by 3 at home. They should win that one, although the Bears are coming off a win against the Falcons
That's
last
for
week,
sure.
which pretty much knocked the Falcons out of it.
yeah.
Still mathematically alive, but pretty much knocked out of it unless they win and the Bucks lose. If the Packers win, they are in. If they lose, they are out.
Falcons need to fire Arthur
The
Smith.
game we will be getting at 4:25 on CBS is Eagles at Giants. Eagles are favored by 5. They have the NFC East to play for if Dallas loses. If the Eagles win and the Cowboys lose, they get the NFC East. They still have the playoffs locked up. The Giants are eliminated at 5-11. The Eagles
They've
are
been.
11.
And if Dallas
5. They
wins,
have.
it's over.
Oh yeah.
And if Dallas wins, they get the NFC East. And the Eagles will be the 5 seed in the NFC.
Yep.
4:25 on Fox as well. It's Seahawks Cardinals. The Cardinals coming off a big upset, still 4-12, and I believe the second overall pick this year. If
Maybe
Seattle-
they.
I think
they
they
get.
I think they
someone.
dropped to third.
Yeah,
I think the
possibly
Commanders-
because
No, I think it's New England.
I don't know.
New England Commanders.
With a Seattle win and a Green Bay loss, the Seahawks will make the playoffs. They still need Green Bay to lose to the Packers for them to get in, and then the Cowboys will play Washington. Of course, as we said, they control their own destiny.
Yeah.
If they win, they will win the NFC East and be the number 2 seed in the NFC.
Which it probably will happen.
Which they
unfortunately.
probably will, considering they're favored by 13 on the road against Washington.
Yeah.
And then the picks for this week for us, our game of the week, Sunday Night Football, 8:20 p.m. on NBC. It'll be Buffalo at 10-6 against Miami at 11-5. The Bills, surprisingly, are favored on the road in Miami in Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a quarterback battle.
And I've
I
been
think,
saying this
between-
all year. Josh Allen is only as good as who he plays.
I agree, but that's pretty good because it's Josh Allen versus Tua Tagovailoa this week. Let's make these picks quick. It's starting, of course, with Sam.
Who?
Miami or Buffalo?
Miami or Buffalo.
Buffalo favored by 3.
Give me
on the road.
Buffalo. Give me Buffalo.
That's a fair call. Michael,
I'm going with Miami.
What a surprise.
and the bandwagon strikes again.
Yep.
And the bandwagon strikes again. I will say it loud and proud.
Sean,
All right. Last week, we thought game of the week was gonna be Dolphins at Ravens. That was gonna be a shootout, high scoring with Tua Tagovailoa and Lamar Jackson. Obviously, I thought Dolphins were gonna go on the road and win, but that was the
That was
complete
exact-
opposite. Ravens won. Dolphins are at home after that tough loss. If they win this game, they win the AFC East. So give me the top dogs, Miami Dolphins.
Hey!
nice build up there. Alex, last one before me.
Bills.
I agree. I agree with
Give me
Sam and Alex.
Buffalo.
I think Buffalo, Miami are frauds against teams above 500.
Where are they playing?
not
Are they
named
playing it down
the
in
Dallas
Miami?
Cowboys.
Then again,
it's
it's-
in Miami.
Oh.
But the Bills are favored by 3 on the road.
It's Buffalo.
So they'd be up. So they'd be favored by 6 if they're at home.
If
Yes.
Buffalo loses, they're done for. They're not making the playoffs.
No, they're. I
What
think
does
they-
money
No,
line look
It's either,
like?
it's either they
Really?
win and get 2 or they miss the playoffs.
Wow.
That's-
All right.
Yeah.
But of
Those-
course, the winner wins the AFC East and will be
Oh,
will
let me
have
check
a home
money
playoff
line.
game.
the Bills are on a 5-game win streak.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
Dolphins- although
No,
the Dolphins are
four
coming
game-
off
four
a big
game.
loss.
Four-
Josh
yeah.
Allen's about to hit
But
4,000
still.
yards.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Pretty good.
but he's also 27 and 16. So
Yeah.
All right.
TD to INT.
How many picks will Josh Allen throw this week? I give it at least 2 to 3.
Over under is 2.
He's
I'll
projected
take the
1.
under. I'll say 1.
I'll take the over.
Yeah.
I'll take the over. I'll say 3.
All
The
right.
money line,
2 to
by
3.
the way, is minus 156 for the Bills, plus 132 for the Dolphins.
So it's a close one.
Spread is minus 3 in favor of the Bills.
So it's close. It is close.
It's really close.
It is really close.
It's gonna be a battle of the Buffalo Bills and the top dogs, Miami Dolphins.
The top
Yep.
dogs.
The top dogs, Miami Dolphins.
The top dogs, indeed.
Well, we'll see how that turns out and how Week 18 turns out in the NFL and who wins the college football national championship along with whatever else happens this week in sports. For Michael McKay, Alex McKay, Sam Koppelman, and Sean Barry, I'm Matthew Merlino. If you're at Hills, get ready for 8th period. If you're not, enjoy the rest of your day and week. We'll be back here next Wednesday. You've just watched the Pascack Clutch podcast on the PH Athletics YouTube channel.